Kato Thorne has proven to be the ultimate enemy of Fortnite Season 4, and deep within his mansion lie some terrifying secrets, but what do they reveal about the identity and the true intentions of this time-traveling, blood-craving criminal mastermind? When Kato Thorne was first revealed through the teasers leading up to Season 4, we can see him in this laser-type image. Many members of the theory community compared his appearance to that of a character from the Ghost vs. Shadow season of Chapter 2, Season 2. Despite his little relevance to the overarching plot and really having no set meaning within the storyline, Redux was a skin released all the way back in Chapter 2, Season 2 that bears some striking similarities to the design of Kato Thorne, and also Midas as well. A piece of evidence on the island right now that everyone has been pointing out brings the story to quite a dark conclusion that might change how we look at Midas forever. If you aren't already aware, Kato Thorne has a time machine, and the Redux skin has all his descriptions themed around a revival, and more specifically him coming back for revenge. What if Redux is a version of Kato Thorne that came from the future through the time machine? This version got in a fight with Midas later on in the story, losing his limbs and having them replaced with robotic ones. Then for revenge, he went back into the past and cut off Midas's hand to store it in the collection that we see in-game at Eclipse Estates. This theory would be super dark for sure, but it would also explain the relevance of Oro's skull in the trailer and why it was such a focal point. Maybe this is the artifact that Redux tried to steal from Midas, which is what led to the whole fight between them in the first place. It also just seems like Midas has quite a bit of relevance to the plot at this moment in general, and I mean, I know creators always say that because we're really just hoping Midas will come back, but come on, let us hope. The silver and gold spray just released that was meant to come out back in, the Chrome season about a year ago, but that's just epic for you. Oro's head was in the trailer, Meowscles was the secret skin last season, Midas's drum gun alongside TNTina's bow can both be found within the collection from Kato Thorne, like he clearly stole a lot from Midas and his guys. But maybe Redux isn't Kato Thorne getting revenge on Midas. After all, it is just a theory, just like Kato Thorne being the same person or at least related to Ronan. Ronan is a character from the Chapter 3 Season 1 Battle Pass who seeks glory in the Order of the Waning Moon. The Order of the Waning Moon is seemingly his faction, and funnily enough, they have almost the exact same logo as Kato Thorne's group, who are known as the Eclipse. Same shape, same color, pretty much the same everything. I mean, the symbol in Kato's faction is actually the sun, and Ronan's one is the moon, so maybe they're opposing factions. Like, this has to have some meaning, it cannot just be a coincidence. Fortnite knows what they're doing with this, or at least they hope they do, and they wouldn't tease us with something so obvious if it didn't mean anything. It's not like they've ever done that before. Either way, it seems like Kato Thorne had to have some sort of a connection to Ronan. Do I think they're the same person? No, definitely not. I think the Redux theory is a hell of a lot more likely, but I do think Ronan and Kato Thorne might be opposing in some sense, like the sun eclipse and the moon eclipse are like against each other in some sort of way. Ronan's blade, called the Blade of the Waning Moon, is a treasured artifact from an extremely dangerous quest. This all but confirms that Ronan is also some sort of stealing criminal, and maybe Kato and Ronan steal from each other. Maybe the blade we see on Kato's back is linked into this too. To be honest, I'm not totally sure, but it does seem like there's some secret that he's not telling us. I mean, there has to be. And if you want to know what that secret is, subscribe to the channel if you're enjoying the video so far, because we're so close to the 10k face reveal. Back inside the collector's vault that we were talking about earlier, we can find a stone known as the Looper Calendar. Now, just this name alone sounds like it has to have something to do with either the future or the past, or something to do with the stars and telling time, but the Looper Calendar actually consists of 5 very familiar logos, which are actually symbols for 5 of the 7 members of the 7, most likely excluding the sisters or the daughters of Geno, Imagined, and Order. This timeline actually makes sense, because the sisters could have been the last 2 to join the 7, making them the 5 at one point, or maybe it was the origin after he was freed from the prison, but nonetheless, this does inform us that maybe the 5 is actually a thing. Maybe that wasn't their name, or maybe that's showing what the group looks like now. There are heavy hints towards the scientist and the Imagined being both dead, considering the Imagined got torn apart in the 0 point, and the scientist's last message that he left us with was this.
Paradigm, if you're listening to this, it means I'm gone. I don't know where they took me, and I don't know if I'll be back. I promised we'd never leave you alone again, and I promised freeing the 0 point would be safe. Everything's my fault, so whatever happens to me, I deserve it. I'm sorry it ended like this.
I mean, he's most definitely hinting towards a pretty dark future for himself. Whether he's dead or he gets replaced by someone else, I'm not sure. But here's the general idea that I'm getting. Kato Thorn might be a time traveler and a vampire and a wealthy collector, but if that wasn't enough, there's even more to him. He might just be out to get all of the heroes that we've met throughout the entire Fortnite storyline. Maybe that's the reason why so many characters just suddenly disappeared, like Jones, who we saw after the Fracture event, but never again. He seems to be linked to the Seven, and Midas, and Oro, and Redux, all of which we have not seen since their releases in the storyline, until they just magically disappear. Maybe Redux does turn out to be a future revived version of Kato Thorn, or maybe Kato Thorn is actually Ronin and he plans to find glory in the Order of the Waning Moon through the eclipse. What I'm most excited about is hearing what happened with the story of Midas, and why exactly Kato Thorn cut off his hand just to store it in some glass case. I mean, hey, maybe it's just a decoration, or maybe he's into hands, I couldn't tell you. If you enjoyed this video, consider subscribing to the channel, dropping a comment with your own theories, and joining our Fortnite storyline-centered Discord server, link in the description. Have a great one, and watch out for Kato Thorn, because something tells me he's hiding a huge secret.